Hi, I'm Dreyer, your host, and welcome to the Wealth Creator Spiritual Path podcast. Now, today we're going to look at the concept of projections. Now, you may be wondering, honest, but what on earth does projections have to do with spiritual and financial and relationship growth? Well, basically, it's got everything to do with it. So in this episode, we're going to reveal how the beliefs and the thoughts that we project outwards shape not just our personal reality, but also our financial success in life. But you know what? Rather than talk about it, I'd like to introduce you to a story that's going to bring all these lessons basically in a relatable and a profound way to us. This is a story of Karla. Karla is a successful business consultant whose journey to find purpose goes beyond profits and status and stuff like that. So her life, like so many of ours, appears complete on the surface. You know, typically if you look at the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the YouTube, and even if you talk to people, how are you? No, I'm great. And we show the best part of ourselves. But she senses that there's something missing. So in her search, she encouraged a mysterious guide called Alma, who sends her on a quest to unlock her crown of clarity, in other words, the crown chakra. So along the journey, Karla must confront her inner doubts, strengthen her willpower, and awaken her higher mind to reach her true potential. So through Karla's journey, you see reflections of your own life, the challenges that you face, the moments of doubt, and the inner strength that you're asked to summon in order to become the best version of yourself. This story is filled with lessons on aligning your mind and spirit in creating meaningful changes in your life. It's about using the power of your thoughts and beliefs to overcome obstacles, and in the process to find clarity and to create the life that you are proud of. So after the story, what I'm going to do, I'm going to dive deeper and we're going to start exploring this lesson. We're going to look at the principles of wealth creator strategy, how this applies to this specific story. And then we're going to connect both the spiritual wisdom and practical financial steps so that we can get the maximum benefit from the story. So our focus is going to be on the spiritual insights. Then we're going to look at the crown chakra. We're going to look at the transformative law of mentalism, which is one of the universal laws, or what we call metaphysical laws. And then we're also going to look at the importance of willpower as one of the higher faculties of the mind, in other words, the mind powers, and how all of these are going to give us the framework for creating the future that we desire. So today's episode is about empowering you to break free from limiting beliefs and to break through basically those limiting beliefs. Project your truest self into the world and to take the steps towards a fulfilling and an abundant life. This is why we were born. We were born to have a life of abundance, but because we do not accept this, because we do not understand how it really and truly works and how to use the crown chakra and willpower and the hermetic laws, that is the reason why we're not getting that inner satisfaction and inner well-beingness sometimes. So I want you to get comfortable, to open your mind and to prepare yourself and to immerse yourself in Karla's journey. Today we're going to uncover insights that I think will definitely transform how you approach both the spiritual and financial paths that you're on. So sit back, enjoy. Here's the story.
The journey of Karla and the crown of clarity. Karla, a skilled but disillusioned business consultant, feels something is missing from her life. Though financially successful, she's spiritually unfulfilled. One evening, she meets a mysterious guide, an elderly woman named Alma, who shares a cryptic message about discovering her crown of clarity. Alma explains how this crown will empower her mind to achieve new heights of financial freedom and inner tranquility. This advice confuses Karla, but Alma insists that the journey involves awakening her crown chakra, understanding the law of mentalism, and mastering willpower. With determination, yet uncertainty, Karla sets off on a journey to the ancient forest that Alma described, representing the depths of her mind and spirit. As she navigates this symbolic mental forest, Karla faces challenges in the form of internal doubts and fears. The deeper she goes, the darker and more complex the forest becomes. She encounters reflections of her past decisions, each one acting as a mental projection she must confront. Here the law of mentalism becomes evident. Each twist in the path mirrors Karla's thoughts, reinforcing the principle that her perceptions shape her reality. In her struggle to move forward, she realizes that the thoughts are creating the challenges she encounters. The clearer her mind, the more passable the forest becomes. In a clearing, Karla meets Alma once more, who discloses that she can only proceed by concentrating her thoughts. She educates Karla on willpower, emphasizing it is not just simple determination, but a potent, elevated capability of her mind, a disciplined and concentrated energy that has the ability to transform her reality. Karla learns to channel her willpower into the wealth creator strategy Alma introduces, where she balances spiritual insights with practical action. Each breath she takes brings clarity, and she learns to focus her thoughts with intention. Using a new understanding, Karla finds a path through the forest opening, each step feeling more aligned with her purpose. Finally, Karla reaches the summit of a hill, representing the crown chakra and a higher perspective. She gains profound insight. Her mind is the crown of her existence, capable of creating both limitation and liberation. By mastering her thoughts, she can influence her finances, her relationships, and her spirit. The wealth creator strategy becomes her guiding principle. She realizes that her financial freedom and her spiritual growth aren't separate journeys but integrated paths toward wholeness. With this newfound clarity, she undergoes an awakening in her crown chakra, fostering a sense of unity and a deep comprehension of her own potential. Karla resumes her consulting work, now filled with a fresh sense of purpose. She guides her clients in mastering the importance of their mental faculties, weaving together both practical financial strategies and profound spiritual insights. By aligning her inner and outer worlds, she becomes a mentor herself, inspiring others to find their own crown of clarity.
So, what are the lessons from this story today? I want you to imagine life as a long, complex series full of seasons, plot twists, and lessons. We might think that we're simply navigating the storyline, but we are actually creating it through our projections. Karla, a successful but unfulfilled business consultant, mirrors this experience. Though skilled and financially stable, she feels a deep void, a sense that she's missing something essential. Now, her journey to understand projections, to awaken a crown chakra, and to apply the law of mentalism reflects a profound truth. And that is that our outer world is often a reflection of our inner thoughts, our beliefs, and our intentions. In other words, that's what we think, feel, and do. This is what's going to show up in the world. So it comes from the belief. The belief gives rise to our thoughts. The thoughts are then converted into the feelings that we've got, and that reflects in real life in terms of the actions that we're taking. And those actions are then the results that we can see in our day-to-day life. So in her story, Karla encounters Alma, a wise guide who introduces her to the idea that our mental landscape shapes our reality. Alma explained that clarity can only come by fully engaged with life and understanding the deeper power of thoughts. This is the beginning of a journey into the law of mentalism, which teaches that everything begins with the mind and is projected outwards. So Carla's journey also highlights the concept of the crown chakra, the energy center associated with divine wisdom and higher consciousness. Now, Alma explained that by connecting to the inner crown, Carla can see beyond her circumstances. But to reach this understanding, she must activate her willpower, not as mere determination, but as a higher mental faculty that allows her to shape her reality. Now, the higher faculty of the mind is actually your mind power, that causes everything, and where we have full control over that skill that we can develop. So as Carla travels through a symbolic mental forest, facing obstacles that mirror her fears and her doubts, she learns about her mind. Alma teaches her to channel her willpower to overcome these mental projections, creating her path forward. This is where the journey overlaps with the wealth creator strategy. You see, by taking responsibility for her inner world, Karla gains control over her outer circumstances. Just like in our own lives, Karla's challenges aren't simply barriers. They are her mind's way of calling her to grow and to refine her focus. So, the fifth need that we as human beings have is that to grow. In order to grow, we need to focus on that is going to give us that growth. And therefore, we have to focus our mind to focus on that. So, by facing these projections with clarity, she learns to direct her willpower towards her true desires. Now, what are some of the lessons that we can learn from a financial point of view and a spiritual point of view from this lesson? And that is simply that the law of mentalism, if we look at that, we're going to find that Carla's story illustrates that everything that we experience begins as a thought or a belief. In her struggle, she realized that financial success is more than just acquiring wealth, making more money. It's about understanding what wealth itself is, and that is actually a projection of her inner mindset. This law of mentalism teaches us that by mastering our thoughts, we can shape our reality, both financially as well as spiritually. So the crown chakra and higher perspective, what we can learn from that is, if we look at Carla's story, her journey to the top of the hill, where she begins a higher perspective, symbolizes the awakening of the crown chakra. This vantage point represents the clarity that comes from aligning with higher consciousness. For us, achieving this balance means recognizing that our financial and spiritual lives are interconnected. Willpower is one of the higher faculties or mind powers that we've got. So willpower is the driving force behind transformation. And by focusing her will, Carla finds the strength to shape her reality and to create the path that she truly desires. So, if we look at our own lives, willpower gives us the ability to follow through on our intention, helping us to apply strategies like the wealth creator strategies with resilience and purpose. Now, let's break this down and ask a couple of questions. The first one is, what inner belief might be shaping my current reality? Now, let's look at Carla's story. Carla's journey through the forest revealed that her obstacles were reflections of her doubt. Similarly, we can ask ourselves which thoughts or beliefs are creating the challenges in our life. So, if we can take a practical insight from this is, if you believe that financial success is difficult, you might unconsciously create situations that reinforces this idea. And therefore, you can consider shifting your perspective to see opportunities, not obstacles. You see, this is what happens with us because of the reticular activated system that we've got. If you do believe that there's a limitation, that there's not enough, that we are living in a world of limitations, of scarcity, that's what you're going to see. Because the reticular activated system is helping you to stay within your comfort zone. And therefore, if there's a belief system, any belief system is going to delete, distort, generalize, and add information to line up with that you believe. Because the only way that we can experience life is through the five senses, what we see, hear, taste, smell, and feel. That's the only way that we can experience this. So then we can ask ourselves the question, but how can I tap into my higher perspective in order to gain clarity? Because we've got these environments that we've set up or that we set up on our behalf. So if you're not proactive, the environments are set up on your behalf. So how can I tap into my higher perspective to gain clarity? This is a powerful question that you can ask, because all we have to do is to see what we see, hear, feel, taste, and smell. And the experiences, the feelings that we get from that, because that is going to tell us what our belief systems are. And by querying those belief systems and by becoming aware of those belief systems, then we can change. We cannot change unless we become aware of what we think, feel, and do in our lives. Another question that we can ask is, how can I tap into my higher perspective to gain clarity? If we look at Carla's story, when Karla reaches the summit, she gained clarity. This mirrors the wisdom of the crown chakra, which allows us to step back and to view our lives from a higher perspective. In other words, we first need to become aware of what we do, why we do it, and the outcome of that. If we look in real life, for example, in your finances, and you're getting a total growth on your investment of, say, 15%, it's because you believe certain stuff, that you do certain stuff, and that's why you're getting the outcome of that certain stuff. But at the same time, if you compare that to your financial freedom growth rate, and you're not getting that you need to get, say, for example, 65%, you know there's something wrong. And that can be a reflection that, but I'm not taking responsibilities to learn the skill that I need in order to get to my financial freedom growth rate. So on the practical side, what we can do is to practice mindfulness or meditation to connect with your higher self. And meditation is not necessarily sitting there, the whole day. It means to think about what are the results that I'm getting in my life, why am I getting those results, and to really be mindful about, but are they not maybe different things that I can do? What is it that I do that is not giving me the results that I want? Now, by simply getting into this, it can provide insights that can help you to make a clearer financial as well as personal decisions in your life. Another question is, am I using my willpower to shape my path, or am I reacting to circumstances? And this is exactly what it boils down to. If I'm reacting to my circumstances, it means I am reactive. This means that my environment, in other words, this that I believe, this is what is dictating the outcomes in my life. But the moment that I'm proactive, now I can deliberately, intentionally, and consciously decide what outcome I want. And this is where the wealth creator strategy becomes so powerful, because if I want to go from where I am to where I want to be, and I know that I need a 65% growth on my investment to get to 10 million if I've got 1,000 Rand or $1,000, depending on where you are when you listen to this. The moment that I know that, this means that I have to learn something that I haven't got if I do not know how to get it. So this question, am I using willpower to shape my path, or am I reacting to my circumstances, is very important, because let's look at Carla's story. Carla learned to direct her willpower to overcome obstacles. Her experiences shows us that willpower, when it's applied, in other words, when it's focused with intention, help us to shape our path rather than just reacting to it. And this is why the formula for riches becomes so important, because the intent, that I want to have, that I desire, unless I know exactly what that is, I'm not going to do it and why I want to do it. And that is why, with that, we need to have our power goals. But the power goal in itself is not really going to help us unless we program that into our subconscious mind. And that is where power morphing comes into play. Because power morphing is the scientific process where we consciously, deliberately, and intentionally program the subconscious mind to give us unconsciously that we want. The moment that we do that, we change our environment, we change the inputs that we're going to experience through the five senses. Now, suddenly we change the direction of the reticular activated system that it's going to focus on. So if I focus on negativity and I focus on scarcity, this is what I will see. But the moment that I change that, then I'm going to see the abundance in everything, in all areas of my life. And this is how that reaction towards what we allow our thoughts to be is going to manifest in our lives. So let's make this a little bit more practical. The way that we can do this is to start to set clear intentions each and every day, and then focus your energy on actions that align with your long-term goals. So take small practices and then start building the willpower that is needed for greater change. Because if you start adding all these small changes up, you're going to find that it becomes a massive, massive change in your life. Another question can be, how are my emotions guiding or distracting me from my goal? Again, if we reflect back on Carla's story, we're going to find that emotions guided Carla through her journey. And by the way, exactly the same happens to us. We are, because each and every thought, each and every belief carries a certain emotion, and that emotion can be either positive or a negative. So in the labyrinth of her mind, her emotions were signals of where she needed to focus. Now, some of the practical insights that we can get from this is that emotions can be powerful guides, but only if we are aware of them. And that is why when you set your goal and you just set the goal from a mental point of view, it's not nearly as powerful as when you start to ask, why do you want to achieve that outcome, that goal, and how will that benefit you? So we need to start tapping into the emotions, because the emotions is what's going to give that belief system enough, let's call it juices, so that we start focusing on the outcomes that we want. But if there's no emotion, then there's no reason why the reticular activated system will shift. So use emotions as indicators rather than distractions, letting them therefore point you to areas that needs healing or attention. Another question that we can ask is, in what ways can I align my financial strategies with my spiritual values? Let's look at Karla. In the story, her newfound understanding led her to integrate the wealth creator strategy, which is intelligent use of limited resources to go from where you are to where you want to be in the shortest possible time with the least amount of risk, and therefore aligning her financial goals with her spiritual insights. So, what are the practical insights that we can take from this? All you have to do is to align your financial goals with your personal values. Because if something is high on your value system, it means it's going to be easier for the reticular activated system to focus on that and to let those things that's going to influence it through. Okay, so for instance, if generosity is important to you, build it into your financial plan by dedicating a portion of your income to causes that matters to you. I think these are more or less enough stories and lessons that we can learn from today. So maybe we can start to conclude. So if this story resonated with you, maybe take a moment to reflect on your own journey. What projections, beliefs, and thoughts might be shaping your reality? Another great question to ask. Remember that every step that you take, every lesson that you embrace, helps you to move closer to clarity and purpose. And therefore, if you enjoyed this episode, and I really hope that you did, then subscribe, share it with others, or maybe someone that you know that would benefit from it. Also, join for the next episode that we're going to have, and this is going to be a very powerful one, which is called expectations, and how expectations is going to shape our journey. So let this then be a reminder, like Carla, we each have the power to shape our lives, to align our mind and spirit, and to transform our challenges into stepping stones. So keep moving forward, keep learning, and keep on creating the life that you desire. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, let your heart be your guide.